Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. Okay, we will start the meeting at 6:34. We would like to acknowledge this land that we meet on today is the traditional lands of the Gawler people, and that we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We also acknowledge the Gawler people as the custodians of the Greater Adelaide region, and that their cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important to the living Gawler people today. Start with the roll call, and we have apologies from Councillor White, Amelia, Xanthi, Ethan Palmer, Xanthi Kennedy and Emerson. And we'd also like to welcome Councillor Sambler, who is joining us tonight. Do we have any current motion? Do we have any motions to grant leave of absence? No. We have no current leave of absence. We're going to add him as a leave of absence. Okay. Sorry.
He emailed him as an apology this morning. I think his leave of absence finished last week, but we can confirm that.
Yeah. Okay. And non-attendance I guess right now is Jack, but he's just running a little bit late. We'll move on to 3, which is the public open forum. Susie was meant to be taking our training this evening, but she is unwell, so unfortunately we are unable to do that tonight. Moving on. Yeah, we'll reschedule that for some other meeting. 4, do we have any declarations of interest? No. If anyone's had a look at the minutes, could we have the confirmation of the minutes with like a mover, Abby, and a seconder, Darcy? All those in favour, please raise your hand. Carried unanimously. Do we have any business arising from the minutes? We can do that later. Okay, we will move on to the decision reports. The first one is the Youth Development Officer update. Would you like to speak to the report, Deb?
Yes,
Yeah, you're good.
sorry, through the chair. Yes, thank you, Jade. Thank you. We're about to start school holidays next week, which is a little bit exciting. We've got lots of programs on offer. A lot of them have already sold out, but there are still a few vacancies. We always encourage any of the YAC members that wish to participate in any of those to reach out to us. If you are a volunteer, we're always looking for volunteers. If you're not signed up as a volunteer and you are one of the YAC members, we can arrange for you to become volunteers, and then that way you can put your hand up to help us out in events or programs as well. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. We've got a couple of new things that we haven't done before. We're going to look at some lamps and actually reusing them. This was an idea of one of our young people's from last school holidays. So we've got some little characters and some old lamps that we're going to upcycle and spray different colors, so that's going to be pretty cool. And we're also doing some drawing with Jess, and we're going to hopefully enter some into the show, but we're just waiting on the show for some guidelines on what can be entered. But it would be really nice to see what we end up with. Otherwise we'll use the piece in one of our upcoming events, but hopefully we get a couple of pieces out of that. We've got clay back by popular demand, and another new one is the Saber Academy, which is a martial arts fitness combined with lightsabers. So anyone that's a Star Wars fan, and photo shoots at the end. So you get to have photo shoots in backdrops of Star Wars. So pretty cool. That one booked out pretty fast, but we are after a couple of older people or YAC members to help us out. So if you are keen, you are more than welcome to join in and have some photos. We're also doing a photography tour with Daniel, who runs, I'm from Gawler and Gawler Photography. Cody, can you? Gawler and photographs. So it will be really good to have his skills, and he's going to be teaching us and take us to some historical sites around Gawler, and we've got one of our historic officers coming with us as well. So it's a bit of a history lesson come photo tour, so that's pretty interesting. Yeah, so that's all of our school holidays. Next month, or when we meet next, I will put a call out for those new YAC members to wear their shirts so we can take some photos of you to update our pages. Also up on the Facebook page of the Youth Advisory Committee, we have information of the Community Achievement Awards. They are now open, so we encourage you to have a look at those and nominate anyone in the community if you believe that they deserve to be nominated. And then last one for me is the youth panel, which is coming up later with Tony Piccolo. He has advised us that the person that represents has to be 16 years of age and up, which is fair enough, because obviously the topics, and they're also going into Parliament House and doing a few things in the city. So we will, when we get to that, we'll call and see if somebody else would like to nominate. And when the other members that did nominate that weren't 16 years of age are 16, he would love to have you come along. So thank you for that.
Cool. Do we have a mover for the update? Darcy, and a seconder, Edward. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Carried unanimously. Is there any other discussion in regards to the update? Any questions, any discussion? No, all good, we'll move on. To 8, which is the items listed for discussion. 8.1 is the chair's verbal update.
7.2. That's the other one where we
Oh,
do the
yes.
schedule.
In your books, if I can find the page. Page 13, and also if you keep going to 18, page 18. The recommendation is that the Gawler Youth Advisory Committee adopts the attached Gawler Youth Advisory Committee meeting schedule for 2023-2024. And as you can see, it's kind of alternating between a YAC meeting and some event or some training rather than a meeting for that much. So next month in August, we would have public speaking team training / building. We wouldn't have a meeting that month. And then the following month in September, we'd have a meeting other than our monthly meetings as they are set. It might just give us more time between each meeting to come together and have items to discuss. Cody, if you'd like to speak.
So the training that we were going to do today, when are we rescheduling that?
Through the chair, so we will just see when Susie, our governance officer, is available. It might be a good opportunity to do it in either August or September, just because it would be good to do it. We've got a lot of new members, so it would be good to get them trained up as soon as possible. So if we can't do it in August, it would definitely be September, but we'd look to go it as soon as possible.
Is there any other discussion or any questions in regards to this recommendation? Maybe if Deb, you have anything else you'd like to say in regards to the recommendation?
Through the chair, yeah, so if there's any other training that you would like, obviously these are suggestions. And as Jade mentioned, the reason we have done that is when we're doing public speaking training, it would become very late in the night if we're also doing our meeting training. And it seems to be that this is the best time for these type of things because it's when we normally meet. And the public speaking training has been on the agenda for quite a while now. And it's taken us a long time to tee that one up. And hopefully, as Chair said, we can do our Schedule 41 training at the same time, because that one's only about half an hour. So we should be able to fit them both in together, which will be really good. But if you've got any other suggestions, we do have mental health training next year scheduled. And obviously, we've still got a team building on there as well. And then we'll, go into there, but we can change them around because obviously the terms of reference allows us to do that.
Awesome, thank you. Are there any other questions or discussion? Any comments in regards to a meeting every second month? Do people like that? Do they not like that? Any opinions? Does anyone disagree with having a meeting every second month? No? So then hence we all agree to have a meeting every second month? It's not quite every second month, but because we don't have meetings on public holidays. Okay. Well, then the officer's recommendation, to reiterate, is that the Gawler Youth Advisory Committee adopts the attached Gawler Youth Advisory Committee meeting schedule for 2023-2024. Could I please have a mover, Abby, and a seconder, Jack, and all those in favour? Carried unanimously. Now we'll move on to item 8, which is items listed for discussion. 8.1 is the chair's verbal update. I had my meeting with the mayor today, actually. It got postponed from, I think, 2 weeks ago when the public holiday was, and then I had exams, so I wasn't able to attend meetings with her, but we had it today. I just talked to her about our previous meeting, how we have all these new members, and we're hoping to get some extra training in so that all of our members can understand how meetings run and kind of give us public speaking support and whatnot. We also discussed the changes that we discussed last meeting in regards to the age requirements for our sports sponsorships. And how that is now becoming 12 as a minimum age rather than 12 is a minimum age rather than we'll have discussion if we ever decide to send through someone younger than 12. She wanted to make a note that it was unclear to her if the applicants that we've been sending through are from Gawler, if they're Gawler-based residents, or if it's just that their community group that they're participating in is Gawler-based. And unfortunately, I didn't have any of my notes on me at the time, but I wasn't able to confirm whether or not the applicants we send through are Gawler-based, and if it's something we should be discussing as a committee when we have applicants, if we should be sending through applicants that are not Gawler-based, but I guess that can also be a discussion point for next time we receive applicants. Other than that, I do not have anything else to update. Is there any questions anyone would like to ask, any discussion points? Cody?
Or can staff clarify around the those requirements?
Yep, through the chair. So you do have to be a Gawler resident, or you have to have some strong connection to Gawler. So live, work or play in Gawler. So you live in Gawler, you attend a school in Gawler, or you have a strong connection such as spending sport. But that's for the committee. Yeah. So you have to have a strong connection to Gawler. Okay. And primarily it's residents. We don't get many. Yeah, so primarily it's you live in Gawler, but if you attend school or you have a strong connection, that's also for consideration.
Yep, so I guess if we do ever get applicants that are not Gawler residents, but they do study or work in Gawler and also have the sport attachment, then I guess that's up to us as a committee to decide whether or not we'd like to send them through. Any other questions or comments? No. We'll move on to 8.2 then, which is the youth advisory panel update. And as Deb discussed earlier, Tony Piccolo has just asked for someone 16 or older to be on the panel. You do not need to be of school age or attending school. So maybe I'll ask for any volunteers. And if not, we can bring it up at a separate meeting as well. Do we have any volunteers who would like to attend Tony Piccolo's panel, age 16 and over? Abby? Anyone else for future reference? Nope, we'll leave it at Abby then. And I'm sure if you would like to have this opportunity in the future, or you're a bit too young now, talk to Deb and she can always get you in touch with Tony as well. Okay, we'll move on to 8.3, which is Bike Month. Jack, would you like to provide an update? 8 point, less it's different. Okay, my notes a bit different. Okay, we will do 8.3 as your youth accessibility to transport, yes. And also if you'd like to attach 8.4 Bike Month together, like to do that.
No worries. I was gonna throw it to Xanthi for the accessibility to transport, but she's not here today. So I have nothing to report on that element. If anyone else wants to provide any insight, input. Nope. Okay, so then I might just jump to Bike Month, if that's okay.
I'll just quickly make a note that Xanthi Kennedy was wanting to call for a working group to investigate the promotion of safe public transport. And if there's anyone else who would like to be involved in this working group, maybe if you'd like to raise your hand so that we can start putting a working group together or start thinking about having a working group. Max and Darcy and Jack as well. And we also send out the word to those who are here. And other Abby. So yeah, we can also send out the word to the members who are not here tonight to see if they'd like to be involved as well. But having a strong working group would be very beneficial to our committee. Okay, thank you. And then Jack, can you continue with Bike Month?
Oh, good. No, it's great to hear that Xanthi wants to call a working group. That's exciting. So Bike Month, I think last meeting, we kind of left it people to kind of have a think about whether or not they would be keen to participate in sort of the organizing sort of process of Bike Month. I was just wondering if anyone was keen, and I could set up a group chat, email. Yeah, thanks. So Max, and anyone else, feel free to shoot me a message or email, or Deb. Yeah, thank you.
Cool. Are there any questions or discussion in regards to either of those points? No, okay, we will move on then to 8.5, which is the youth programs update, and I believe Abigail has an update to provide us. Thank you.
Just quickly through the chair. Abby, did you have anything to say about cooking? Yeah, all right.
We'll start with other Abby then.
The cooking program finished 2 weeks ago. And the last meal we made was honey chicken. It was a Chinese food, with honey chicken, fried rice and soup, and there was fortune cookies. At the end of the term, everyone had at least used like one new cooking utensil, that they hadn't used before. We all met new people and we learned about new foods and the backgrounds behind them.
Oh, thank you.
All right. So band and drama are now finished for the term, and term 3 will commence on the 31st of July, I believe. Next term, band will be remaining on Thursdays. However, we'll have a few Tuesday practices as well, and drama will be moving to Monday afternoons instead of Tuesdays. Past few weeks of drama, we've finished our audition process now, which has been good, and we've been assigned our characters. So we've been working on breaking down our characters and looking into some more dialogue between said characters. In band, we are still practicing our new songs, and we recently finished the lyrics of the new song. And we're planning on finishing the actual song itself in the near future. There is an entrepreneurship course that will be starting Tuesday and Wednesday mornings next term. Deb has let me know that there'll be 5 sessions that will take the participants from the business idea to the startup and ending up with a business launch. Apparently, there's also the opportunity of grants for the business if the individual fits the eligibility criteria as well. And we're also running a careers workshop in term 3, which is exciting, which will consist of support writing your resume, dress for success and interview skills, and having a few employers potentially coming in to have a look as well. So that's all.
Awesome. Any comments or discussion or questions as well? No, that's all good. We'll move on to 8.6. which is labeled as youth events update on here, but on my working script, I have 8.6 of the youth space-based traineeship program budget bid update. Okay, we'll make that 7. 8.5 is the youth events update, which Abigail, do you also have something to update us on? Thank you.
Yeah, so with the school holidays, there are an absolute heap of programs running. Everyone should have a flyer in front of them, I'm pretty sure. As Deb said, most of them are booked out, which is pretty cool to see. There's some escape hunts, there's some drawing, some clay workshops, book sale, upcycling, the Sabre Academy photo shoot thing. And some photography, and we also have a first aid opportunity for a first aid course, which is cool. In drama and band, again, we're just working towards our end of year performance, which is coming up pretty soon in the following months, but that's about all at the moment.
Awesome. Any questions or discussion? No. We'll add an item listed for discussion as 8.7, which is the youth space-based traineeship program budget bid update. And I have a note here that Councillor Davies is to provide an update and a call for a new budget bid in 2024 to 2025, which he is aware of, which is good.
Yeah, so we just finished our last budget, and the traineeship isn't in this one, so we'll be next 12 months without a trainee. But if we want it starting up again, we need to have something in for by the end of this year, basically, so that it can be in factored into next June's budget decisions. It's been a tough time with budgets and things lately in terms of cutting and everything, but stuff like this traineeship is really good value, is because this is the kind of thing that we can get. And we did get grants on to extend this by like another 6 months or something like that, worth of training time, because this is the kind of, program you can find grants for. So, and it's very beneficial. So I would like to see it presented again, but that needs to be coming from the youth, in terms of presentations and things. And yeah, as we said last month, you don't have to worry about being a technical expert. Like that's what we'll work through. But if you're just interested in, the public speaking and the working through of how to put a bid into the council for a youth trainee, then that would be great to get started with the working group.
Was there something we discussed at the last meeting of like a breakdown of what this traineeship looked like in terms of budget? Was that something that was in the works?
Through the chair, Isaac Solomon, who was a previous member, put that together. So there is a copy of that. I think Cody spoke about, maybe putting a group together to start working on making the changes, if that's the interest of the committee.
Okay. Any questions or discussion in regards to the budget bid update? Jack?
Just wondering if we could potentially get Isaac to attend one of maybe our next YAC meeting to provide a bit more of an insight as to the process that he went through leading the charge last time.
Did Isaac work with a group? I can't recall him, which I also believe none of these members are here anymore.
Yeah, I think it was before both Debbie and I were working with YAC, but I know that there was definitely a business case and that he worked with Erin and Natasha, I'm pretty sure. So we'll check records, see if we'll be able to find the old business case and we can see the process, and then we'll have that information for the next meeting, and we can hopefully have Isaac come as well, Councillor Solomon, and he can talk through the process. We can do it from both sides.
Awesome. That'd be really helpful. Excellent. Any other questions or discussion? Cody?
Yeah, so there were multiple people who worked on it. The actual details are easier now than it was then, because we actually had a youth trainee. So we have not just estimates, but we have a very clear idea of what a trainee would look like. So from that side of things, it's easier. But so last time we had a couple of people present to council, at various meetings or committee meetings. So I'm just getting distracted, by people wandering in. But that's something that, yeah, if you're interested in that, but you're not sure about public speaking or giving speeches or that kind of thing, that's the kind of thing that, well, we have a public speaking team training next month. So.
Awesome. Any other questions or discussion? Nope. Okay. Are there any other topics that any members would like to add to our discussion reports? Chia?
So just back to item 8.1, you do have to be a resident for a youth sponsorship.
Okay.
Sorry, I got my criteria mixed up across a few different things that I'm working on at the moment, but yeah, you have to be a resident of the town of Gawler.
Okay. Must have just been our massive influx of applicants that made the mayor confused, but that's okay. So yes, you must be a resident to apply for sponsorship, including our sports sponsorship. Okay. Yeah, back to my question, if anyone has any other topics they would like to add to the discussion forum, because sometimes we do deviate from the topics listed. Maybe no one can think of anything on the spot, but I guess if you do send a message to Debbie, she might be able to help us out for next month or whenever our next meeting is. Okay. Any final discussion or questions in regards to any of the topics? Just a call out for the Bunyip Generation Now columns. Would anyone like to volunteer to write an article for either August or September? Edward and Max and Ren and Abby. You've got July's one, so August for Edward. Ren can do September. And Max can do October. And if anyone else has any articles they'd like to write, we do have that online page, which I don't recall the name of at the moment. But they're asking for articles that have not been published in the Bunyip before. So if you have any originals you'd like to be published that maybe don't quite fit the criteria for the Bunyip Generation Now column, send them that way. We will move on to item 9, which is items listed for discussion at future meetings. I do not have any listed, but are there any items that would like to be discussed at future meetings? Darcy?
Just with the Gen Now thing, did you want to like maybe go over the criteria and like what's expected for the columns just for the new people as well?
Yes, either myself or Deb. I've written a few myself. They're just kind of shorter articles, can be anything that impacts you as a young person or anything you're interested in. I've written one on study habits and another one on money saving. So they can be almost anything. You don't want them to be too long-winded, just kind of shorter. I personally, okay, here we have a list. So yeah, you just want your writing to be concise, you want to be short and to the point, you want to kind of it's a maximum 20 paragraph stories, but the editor doesn't want 500 word pieces, so they don't want short stories, but they don't want books, if that makes sense. If you're going to introduce someone, you need to if you're going to talk about someone or quote them, you need to introduce them. You need to make sure that names and places are spelled correctly, and you need to remember who you're writing for, so the youth of Gawler, and reinforce your point and provide and if you're going to include images, make sure they're high quality and accompany your story. So yeah, it's just an opportunity for you to write about whatever you think the youth of Gawler should know about or read about. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions or anyone wants to add to the Generation Now columns? No? Okay. Yes, any other items listed for discussion at future meetings? We'll move on to 10 then, questions without notice. Do we have any questions without notice? Nope, we'll move on to motions without notice, and we do have a motion which is Amelia's resignation. And the committee resolution is that the Gawler Youth Advisory Committee acknowledge the resignation of Amelia and that the committee thank Amelia for her service on the Youth Advisory Committee. Can I have a mover, Jack, and a seconder, Darcy? All those in favour, please raise your hand. Carried unanimously. I also have a note to spread the word about the Gawler vacancies. As you can see, we do, well, now with the resignation of Amelia, we have 2 spots available on the committee. And we also we only have I think Xavier representatives from school there are no longer, with Amelia's resignation, there are no longer Trinity students on this committee, and there's a lot of old scholars, so. We have Xavier, Riverbanks, Gawler District. No Gawler District either. I do have a note that Cody may be able to ask Gawler District College if they would like to have someone on the committee.
Yeah, look, I can bring it up. I think it would be good to have, because we don't have either of the high schools represented right now that are in our council area, Trinity and Gawler District. So it would be good to reach out to them.
Mhm. Deb was explaining to me before that there's our usual spokesperson for these schools, Manila, is no longer available or something. If you'd like to speak to that.
Yes, that's our, sorry, through the chair, Gawler and District Youth Workers Network. We did have someone from Gawler and District College attending that regularly, and they do attend, but not regularly. So we have someone from Interact, the club that's based at the school, which is made up of all young people. So we're trying to reach out and see if there's another teacher that would like to spread the word in the school. There's been a few changes. So I guess this year there's been a lot of changes in all the high schools with different teachers. So it's just finding a new network of people. And now we've just lost Trinity's representation. So we would like to consider that in the future.
Yeah. So if you have any friends or younger siblings, older siblings who might want to be involved, or if you, I don't know, I know Darcy works at the school occasionally, if you get the word out that way. Yes, any questions or discussion in regards to anything from this meeting, really? Nope. Okay, then we will close the meeting at 7:07. And our next ordinary meeting is the 4th of September. We will be commencing at 6:30. However, this will be the August public speaking training, so bring your voices. Yeah, and the next meeting will be October. Cool. Thank you all. Oh, September.